So what's up, y'all? I wanted to make a quick video. I just watched the Hollywood Unlocked interview of Sabrina Peterson and some guy named I don't know what this guy's name, but apparently he is very popular and maybe he's been around for a while. I don't know, gay guy, I guess. And apparently, his show is one of the shows to watch, right? So I just watched this interview and I'm thinking about this lawsuit and this feud between Sabrina Peterson and TIandTiny. And I just wanted to give my thoughts on it, right? Because to me, a lot of things about Sabrina Peterson doesn't add up. And there's a couple of things I took away from this interview. Now, I don't even know where to begin, to be honest with you. Like, there were so many red flags in this interview that it just doesn't make any sense, right? So if you haven't by now, I've recently made a video. Actually, it's probably turned into a series. I should probably go back and bundle all those videos in a series. But I've been covering this feud between Sabrina Peterson and T.I. and so on and so forth. And, I have quite a bit of videos for that. But in the last one I did, we're starting to get to the point where her defamation of character lawsuit could be dismissed. And after watching this interview, I'm almost certain that it will be dismissed. Now, take that with a grain of salt. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the future. And most importantly, I'm not even a lawyer, right? This is just my own personal opinion. And opinions are, you know what they say about opinions. Everybody has one. There's an X-rated version to that, but I'm not gonna, throw it out there. But you know, basically, it's just my opinion, right? So what do you think? What do you guys think? Do you think her lawsuit is going to be dismissed? Comments below. But after watching this video, there's a lot of red flags that just pops up. So let's go through some of them. And there's so many, I can't even remember all the things that were going through my mind. I should have took notes when I was watching this video, but I didn't. First, let me just talk about who I believe, in my own personal opinion. I'm not trying to defame Sabrina Peterson. This is my own personal opinion of her. She's made herself a public figure. She's coming out, she's doing these interviews. She's made her lawsuit public. She made her attack on T.I. public. So when you put yourself out there, there's no right to privacy, and I have a right to express my opinion, right? And my opinion of Sabrina Peterson is that she is the type, and I want to make sure I articulate this right, but she is the type of woman that loves power and control. That's my own personal opinion, right? And from watching these videos and from watching how things have played out, I'm pretty sure of that. But it's not the only thing that makes it's not the only thing that's a part of her makeup in my mind, right? Power and control is one of them, right? And we learned a lot about Sabrina Peterson in this interview from her own words. She tells you that she was hood. She was hood. She tells you that she used to be in the black market for drugs. She specifically talks about cannabis, but if you know the streets, typically you're going to dabble in other things. That's my own personal opinion, right? A person, when they gets into that life, they don't just specialize in just weed and that's it. They're probably selling, pills and all the other things if they're in that life. And when you listen to her story, to me, it seems like she was in that life. She basically says she was in the black market, right? So she was in the black market for selling weed. And me personally, if I had to guess, I would say she was selling other things. And she used to be a stripper. And the most important thing of her makeup is that she's violent. she is a type of person, and I would imagine you would have to be violent in that world, right? Because you're selling drugs in the black market and it's illegal at that time. So you're going to have people that are going to test you, you're going to have people that are going to try you, and you want your reputation to precede you. So you're going to be a rough person. You're not going to be a you're a business person, but you're not the type of business person that's going to let small stuff fly. So she's violent. She's very, very violent. And on that note, she dibbles and dabbles. When you listen to her tell the story, she'll never tell all the stories, right? But two things she talks about having a fight and slashing the girl, right? Then she basically says in that she tries to make herself look good. And we don't know the other story of the girl who got cut. I actually tried to find it. If you know that story, you know what that story is. Paste it below. But apparently, her slashing victim has come out and she spoke out. And I actually tried to go to find it, and it looks like there was an Instagram story, but that story was taken down. But to me, it just seems like Sabrina Peterson paints. She gives you the pieces that she wants you to have, just like anybody else would. But she's giving you the pieces that she wants you to have, and she's trying to make herself look good. But a lot of times when people do that, it, what happens is that the facts, or what happens is that some of their character bleeds through, and you can actually see them for what they are. And to me, that's what I saw. I see her for what she is, because when she tells this story, she tries to paint it as she was protecting her baby. When reality, from the way she told the story, the girl wanted to go upstairs into her house so she can get her bag and leave. And Sabrina Peterson saying that, no, I'll bring the bag down to you. And she tells the story as if the girl was trying to push past her to get her bag. And Sabrina Peterson felt as if though she had to slice the girl to protect her baby. And that story just doesn't make sense, because when you tell the story, you say that the girl had your car and she took the car past, beyond and past the agreement that you had. She brings the car back, right? And you have this altercation, and the girl was like, okay, well, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to get my bag. And you're saying your baby is upstairs, and you give this impression that you're trying to protect your baby. So therefore, you pull out whatever it is that you pull out, and you start slashing. And then she also tries to throw in there that she wasn't trying to cut her or stab her. She was just defending herself. So when the girl reaches out, she would basically slash whatever the girl, well, she didn't say reach out. She said when the girl punches or kicks. Sabrina is saying that she just slashed her hand and she slashed the girl's foot, right? That's what she's saying. But that story just doesn't make sense, because it's clear to me from that story that when the girl took the car and she probably didn't come back with the car, or she took it past the agreement, most people would get upset. So more than likely she was pissed off. Then the girl comes back, and the girl is just simply trying to get her bag so that she can leave and just be done. And you're saying, no, my child is upstairs sleeping. I'll get it for you. Just let the girl get her bag and just be done with it. So to me, that tells me that there's much more there that you're not telling, because the girl is not, but in your own words, you didn't say that the girl was trying to attack your baby, but you're throwing your baby into this, uh, to try to make yourself, to try to justify your actions. That's what she's doing. So because she's doing that, to me, that makes me think that she's a manipulator. She's conniving, and she is a manipulator. And to me, that kind of fits with this whole feud. She's, in my opinion, she's power hungry. She's the type that likes to control. She's manipulative, and she's conniving. But just to focus on the story that she told, and she talks about that incident with the cutting probably around 108, an hour and 8 minutes in. And to me, this is just a sign that she's manipulative because, like I said, the baby doesn't fit in that story, but yet you're using the baby to justify slashing the girl. Then you come around and you contradict yourself and you say that you stabbed her. So what is it? Were you defensively just slashing at her punches? Right? And more importantly, the girl didn't have a weapon. So why do you feel the need to use a weapon on the girl? Right? And to me, I don't know how Sabrina looked back then, but the way she looks now is stocky. She looks like she had a athletic build that slowly and surely is maturing. It looks like she's not working out anymore, but she looks like somebody who had an athletic build, and that basically turned into, she's an older woman, so so she's aging and everything, so. But when you look at her frame, she looks like she was athletic. So why would you need to use a weapon on an unarmed woman, right? So none of that story makes sense, right? I think she is what she says she basically says she is. If you just listen to what she says, she's a violent woman, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, just own it. Just own it. I mean, if you're a violent person and you basically that's the way you carry yourself, just own it, right? But that's not what she does. She doesn't want to portray herself as a violent woman, which she is, in my opinion, right? She doesn't want to. She wants to portray herself as a victim, and she's using her baby in that story to try to justify slashing someone. And it just doesn't make any sense. I hate when people do this. But Sabrina strikes me as the person who will use their children as pawns. And that's going to be a consistent theme with her. Remember, in the story where she slashes, if you watch this video, when she talks about the story where she slashes her, the young lady, she says, my baby was upstairs sleeping, and I wanted to. She essentially gives this image or this vibe like she needs to protect her baby, so therefore that's why she slashed the young lady trying to get her back. The young lady didn't say she was trying to hurt the baby. She didn't say the young lady threatened the baby or anything like that. So she just takes the baby and throws the baby in the middle of the story. And again, this type of manipulation is consistent with Sabrina, right? And I'm going to point this out, right? So that slashing story doesn't sound right. Face it. You cut somebody, you use a weapon on an unarmed person, and you went to jail for it, right? And she goes, oh, well, I was on probation, and the only reason I went to jail was because I violated my probation. No, bitch, you slashed somebody. You slashed somebody who did. You use a weapon on somebody who didn't use a weapon. You should have gone to jail regardless, right? So she's manipulative, right? Then we get to the point where we're talking about the altercation that she has with T.I.'s assistant, who I'm assuming is Hannah Kang in this story. And she leaves details out. She doesn't want to tell the whole story. She gives you what she wants you to have, right? And she's trying to tell the story to basically make herself look good. Just tell the story the way it is. You know what I mean? But she has an agenda, so she wants to downplay her portion of the story. But again, a lot of times when people tell stories, they try to hide things bleed through anyway. So when you listen to the reason why they actually got into a fight, Sabrina tells you she can't remember, but she says that the assistant, who I believe is Hannah Kang, started acting like a diva. So they have an altercation. So you got in the fight because you basically didn't like the person. The person didn't threaten you. The person didn't, do anything to you, so on and so forth. And basically, you get in the fight because she's a diva, right? And then somewhere along the lines, Ti comes into the story. She doesn't tell the full story, but the interviewer, I forget his name, he asks, "Well, what would cause Ti to pull a gun to your head?" Right? And then she responds, she goes, "Well, what would cause a man to pull a gun to any woman's head?" And she's trying to hide behind this image of women are need to be protected, women are violated, and women this, women that, right? And basically, I hate when people do this. And again, she's a manipulator. She's only a woman when it comes down to trying to get her way. But she wasn't a woman when she was running around slashing people. You see what I'm saying? So there's lots of reasons that you would want to pull a gun to a woman's head, right? She's not telling the whole story. We need Hannah Kane to come out and tell their portion of the story. We need Tiny or Ti to come out and tell their portion of the story. But for whatever reason, they haven't, and we don't know why. It could be that they're not telling their part of the story because they don't want to get sued for defamation of character, because it's going to be some more he said, she said. But we need to hear the other parts of the story. All we're hearing is Sabrina Peterson's bullshit. That's all we're hearing, and that's all it is. So when we look at that story, and she goes, "Well, why would a man pull a gun to any woman's head?" Well, there's lots of reasons why, right? Well, you're known to be a slasher. You're known to be violent. You're known to, pick up objects and start cutting people. So let me ask you a question. Did you, Sabrina Peterson, pull a knife on Hannah Kane? Did you, Sabrina Peterson, pull any type of weapon on Hannah Kane and threaten to slash her? Right? Because you have to remember, this is who she is. She's the type of person, and she admits that she was in that life, and she admits you have to fight. So she herself describes herself as a fighter. But she's not simply a fighter, she's a slasher. And we know she's a slasher because she she went to jail for it. She's trying to downplay it like it was just a violation of probation. No, bitch, she went to jail for slashing a motherfucker. So that's who she is, but she's trying to, play this story as if she's the victim. And I just don't buy it. Again, she's trying to hide a lot of things, but if you listen very carefully, a lot of things bleed through. Right? Everything that I'm saying is fact. Right? She went to jail for slashing a person. Yes, she's trying to say it was a violation of probation, but at the end of the day, you slashed a person, and that was the violation of your probation. In her own words, fact, she's a fighter. Right? So when you ask, what is there a reason that any man will pull a gun to a woman? Hell yeah, there's a reason a man will pull a gun to a woman's head. Yes, there's lots of reasons out there. She's trying to hide through the mere fact that she's a woman. Yeah, okay, you're a woman, but women kill people. Women do violent shit. And if I felt my life was threatened, I'll pull a gun on a woman. I'm not going to say, oh, she's a woman. I'm not going to, pull my gun on her and then fuck around and get stabbed. Get out here with that nonsense. Then, of course, she goes back to her original playbook and she throws her son in the mix, right? So, that's pretty much my impression of Sabrina Peterson. Those are some of the things that I took away from that interview. I listened very carefully and closely to the story of her and the lady that she slashed. I listened very carefully and closely to the story between her and the altercation between the assistant. And a lot of the things that she says doesn't add up. So to me, Sabrina Peterson is controlling. She's power hungry, and most importantly, she's a manipulator. In my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion, I think she's a liar. So that's who I believe she is, and this is my own personal opinion. I have a right to express that opinion because, like I said, she put her out there. She put herself out there, right? And once you put yourself out there, people can express their own freedom of speech and their own personal opinion. And I just don't buy anything that she says, because number one, she's constantly using other people, her children, the fact that she's a woman, and this whole women need to be protected thing. She's using those as weapons, and she's using those things as shields to basically justify her her actions, right? Things she shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be slashing people, but you want to use your baby as a reason for slashing people. So that's manipulation in my book, right? Um, you obviously had an altercation between the assistant, who I believe is Hannah Kane, and you won't tell us the complete story, but you're just simply saying, I'm a woman, so therefore I shouldn't have had a gun pulled on me. No, bitch. If you did something out of pocket, there's justification and the right to pull a gun on you. Nobody is going to allow themselves to be stabbed, killed, or hurt simply because you're a woman. So a lot of stuff just doesn't add up. Then when you listen to some of the things that she says in this interview, it doesn't make sense. For example, she constantly talks about the victims, and she the victims of TIandTiny, and she interweaves her story into that story. When the reality is that those two stories have nothing to do with each other. Now and then she puts herself out there as an advocate for protecting women. Where was your where was your advocacy for protecting women when you were out there slashing women who just simply wanted to get her bag? None of this makes any fucking sense. It's just all some silly shit. And you can just tell this is about her trying to get revenge on TIandTiny for whatever actually went down. I don't know if it was just the altercation and it's simply that Ti sided with his assistant, and now you're on the outside looking in and you want to get revenge. You want to find a way to hurt them. I don't know what it is, but I don't see any legitimate issue here, right? Because even the person who interviews her, he asked her, "What do you want to get out of all this? How would you like all of this to end? What in an ideal situation?" And I'm summarizing, right? An ideal situation, what would be the best way to resolve this to make you happy? And she doesn't answer that question. What she does, she goes straight to the alleged victims. Bitch, he's talking about you. He's not talking about the alleged victims, which you, by right and by law, have nothing to do with, right? But you want to throw yourself in the middle of all that because you're using that as a weapon to essentially try to attack TIandTiny. You're using that as a tool to try to actually hurt TIandTiny. It just doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any fucking sense. I'm sorry. And if you disagree with what I'm saying, I want to hear about it. Comments below, questions below. I want to know what you think about this whole thing because to me it just doesn't make any sense. And the other thing I notice is that she constantly mentions Bill Cosby and R. Kelly. She mentions it on a regular basis in this interview. And to me, and she also says something to the fact that she believes that people shouldn't have a platform when they come out and they abuse people, so on and so forth. And to me, it's in sync with, what's happened to R. Kelly and what's happened with Bill Cosby. And my thing is this: is that I honestly believe that she intentionally tried to use the Bill Cosby or the R. Kelly playbook, which I talk about a lot in my other videos, which essentially is dragging the person through the media. And once you drag them through the media, you basically, the celebrity, right? You drag the celebrity through the media. And once you drag them through the media, you file a claim, right? You file some type of claim against them. And then you try to get them arrested. And, the idea is that that person will be so busy trying to defend their reputation in the media, and they'll be extra busy trying to, fight off the criminal charges, that, they'll just fold on your civil charges, right? Because they just simply don't have time for it, and they want you to go away. So they figure they'll, fold on the civil charges and just deal with everything else. I honestly believe that she's trying to run the Bill Cosby playbook or the R. Kelly playbook. And I don't think that it's actually going to work. I think that and I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe her defamation of character lawsuit is going to be dismissed. There's nothing that she says in this interview. And in fact, I think this interview hurts her lawsuit because it just shows that she's batshit crazy, in my opinion, right? Uh, there's nothing she says in this interview that's going to help her lawsuit, and there's nothing. And in fact, I think this is actually going to hurt her. Even when you just look at simple questions asked by the interviewer, he asked, in a perfect world, if you had a crystal ball and you found a way to resolve this, how would you want this to end between you, T.I. and Tiny? And then you immediately go and start talking about the victims. None of it just makes any sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So, that's it for this video. I'll wrap this video up. Uh, Let me know what you think. Questions and comments below. What type of person do you think Sabrina Peterson is? Again, I think she is manipulative. I think she's conniving, and I don't believe a word that she says. Right? And let me know what you think. What type of person you think she is. Do you believe her? Do you trust her? Uh, does she seem genuine to you? Uh, to me, I just think, and like I said, she's a fighter. And when I say a fighter, she won't hesitate to pull a weapon on you and to try to harm you, right? Even if you're unarmed. This is my impression of her, right? Um, Let me know what you think. Um, Also, let me know what you think about the lawsuit. Do you think the lawsuit is going to fly? Do you think the lawsuit is going to be dismissed? Let me know. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.